What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and we got a lot to talk about on today's show because, first off, we got a report that Matas Buzelis is apparently the only untouchable player on the roster, and then also a new report around Zach LaVine and Bradley Beal. Could a trade between those two come to fruition before the NBA trade deadline? And then also, the Bulls want a first-round pick for Nikola Vucevic from the Golden State Warriors. We'll talk about all of that on today's show. But before we do so, if you guys want multiple Bulls videos per week, hit that thumbs up icon. I got a little more time here at Chat Sports in my job, and I was thinking about getting maybe 3-4 Bulls videos per week. Right now, we're only getting about 1 or 2. So if you guys want to send a message to me, send a message to my bosses that you want multiple Bulls videos per week, just go down there and hit that thumbs up icon. So the Matas Buzelis news here, and I got a laugh out of this one. Matas Buzelis is the only untouchable player on the roster, according to Joe Cowley. And immediately when I saw this report, first off, I had to make sure it was true because when I first saw it, I was just like, man, I got to make sure that, this is 100% certain. Well, it is. And what I thought was, the Bulls are just truly one of a kind. The Bulls are the only team in all of major sports that will say a rookie who barely averages 12 points a game is the only player that is untouchable on their roster. And I think it's so funny because if we go back at the last couple of deadlines, they were calling Zach LaVine untouchable. They were calling Nikola Vucevic untouchable. And now it's just like, oh, everybody on the roster is available for a trade except Matas Buzelis. So I thought about a couple guys, and number one being Coby White. I think Coby White, in terms of what player on the Bulls team could get you most in a trade back, I think it's by far Coby. He's on a very favorable contract, 3-year, $39 million, and he's a very fantastic player. Now, is he a true starting guard on a championship team? I don't know, but if he is a six-man, that would be one of the best six-men in the NBA, and he's having a great year. Started off a little slow, but now back averaging almost 20 points a game, 3.4 rebounds, 4.7 assists. I think his playmaking is definitely taking a step up this past season, but still, Coby, I could see the Bulls potentially getting a first or maybe 2 firsts for him, but it's really going to come down to, if that report is true, where Matas is the only untouchable player, and they're really trying to ship off guys like Coby, then we'll see if a trade ends up happening, but also his running mate, the man from Chicago, Ayo Dosunmu. I, before the year, was power ranking. I remember on a video, what players on the Bulls roster, in my opinion, would be untouchable. And I had Ayo actually number 2 on my list behind Matas Buzelis. And the argument I was making for Ayo being untouchable was I just feel like he's a winning basketball player. Like if you can imagine the Bulls ever at a time, hoisting that Larry O'Brien, I think Ayo would be a part of that team. He just plays the game the right way, plays it on both sides of the floor. But I think he is a very, very valuable asset. He's on a favorable contract as well. And unlike Coby White, he can defend on the other side of the floor. He's great in transition, a great playmaker, and I would not want to give up Ayo in a trade. But again, if a team offers you, multiple first-round picks for Ayo, I think you just have to do it because the Bulls are not in a position to, call, honestly, any player on their team untouchable at this point. But I can see, the Bulls really shipping off a lot of their players this season. And I think there's a reason this report came out. I almost think it was like, the Bulls front office almost preparing fans, being like, hey, guys like Ayo, a fan favorite, guys like Coby White, a fan favorite, even Patrick Williams, like they will be dealt, not just the 2 big guns, Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic. I could really see the Bulls just completely tearing this down at the NBA trade deadline. But what I thought was so funny about the Matas Buzelis being untouchable report that came out. Here are 4 wings on the Bulls roster that get more minutes than Matas Buzelis. Patrick Williams plays around 26.5 minutes per game. Julian Phillips, 13. Dalen Terry is playing almost 13 minutes a game, and Torrey Craig as well. It is a complete joke that Billy Donovan has not shifted to the youth movement, and even a guy like Torrey Craig, I just can't understand it unless you're trying to up his trade value at the deadline. But what are you most getting for Torrey Craig? A late second-round pick, or cash considerations. But I can understand guys like Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry getting minutes since they are still young, up and coming in the NBA. But, Patrick Williams, I mean, I think that experiment is over. I just don't understand why he's playing more than Matas. But, after the trade deadline, I fully expect Matas Buzelis to get more minutes. Like, there is no excuse for him not to. And I think it's key for just development in the NBA. Like, yes, you can do a lot of work behind the scenes, work on your jump shot, work on your handle. You can do all that. But what is the biggest part of a guy developing in the NBA? It's getting those real NBA minutes. And with Matas only playing, just under 12 a game, he hasn't been able to really do so. Now, the one thing I have loved about Matas in his limited action this season, he's an elite defender already. Per 36, they have him averaging almost 2.5 blocks per game. He is fantastic on that side of the floor. Now, the offensive side, he clearly still has a lot, to be developed, but he shows flashes. He has an NBA skill set. So, honestly, if this report is true, that Matas Buzelis is the only untouchable on this Bulls roster, I think it's a great decision. But I'll ask you guys this. Do you trust the Bulls front office? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down below in the comments section. I'll make this the pinned comment on today's show. So if YouTube throws an ad break your way, sit back, let it play, and answer this question. Do you trust the Bulls front office? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Now, coming up next year on the program, Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic. What's the latest on their trades as the trade deadline approaches in about 2 weeks from now? We'll get you guys the latest there. But first off, I want to give a massive shout out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. Now, if you guys download the PrizePicks app today and plug in that promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today, plug in promo code CLNS, get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, what is PrizePicks? It's the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Now with the big game, 2 Mondays from now, it's official. It'll be the Chiefs taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, and PrizePicks already has an awesome deal for you guys where they have a big game free pick available where Patrick Mahomes' projection is discounted to half a passing yard. So if he just has 1 passing yard, which he will, it will get you 1 win on PrizePicks. So guys, make sure you take advantage of this. It will only be available for you guys until the big game 2 Mondays from now. So check it out. And also just download the PrizePicks app today. Plug in that promo code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Plug in that promo code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. But massive shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, so the latest on Zach LaVine and the Phoenix Suns. So this is coming in from Brian Windhorst. He said the Bulls and the Suns have talked, and the concept of a Bradley Beal ending up in Chicago has been discussed. And again, this is one of those reports that get out there where I'm just saying the Bulls are truly one of a kind because you're trading a shooting guard with a bad contract for a shooting guard with a bad contract. And here's Beal's contract details here. They're even worse than LaVine's. I mean, LaVine only gets up to $47 million in 2026-27. But here's Beal's contract, $50 million this season. And in 2025, $53.6. And he does have a player option, which he will opt into in 2026-2027. And, I will say, this would be the most Bulls trade of all time. Like, I don't think it will happen, where it would be hypothetically just straight up Zach LaVine for Bradley Beal. But, would that shock me? Absolutely not. I would not be shocked whatsoever if the Bulls are like, oh, Zach LaVine for Bradley Beal straight up, we'll take it. But most likely it will have to attach multiple first-round picks. And if you guys noticed, the Phoenix Suns made a consolidation trade a couple of days ago, actually, with the Utah Jazz, where they sent their 2031 unprotected first-round pick to Utah for 3 first-round picks. So maybe the Bulls could swing all 3 of those first. And you know what you're already saying? Oh, there's no way the Bulls could get 3 first-round picks for a Zach LaVine trade. These are fake first-round picks. In 2025, that you see up here, it's the least favorable pick between the Timberwolves and the Cavaliers. And the Cavs currently own the best record in the NBA. So that will be, towards the back of the first round. And also the 27 and 29 first-round picks are the least favorable between the Cavs, Timberwolves, and Jazz. So if either of those teams are good, I am most likely, those will probably be between 25 to 30. You're still getting first-round picks, which I would love. But honestly, if this is the deal, I think I'm doing it, even though I'd hate to take on another bad contract in Bradley Beal, but you're getting first-round draft capital, which the Bulls desperately need. But I'll ask you guys this. Would you accept that trade? of Zach LaVine for Bradley Beal and those three, kind of fake first-round picks. Give me an A for accept or give me a D for decline down below in the comments section. You guys let me know your thoughts on that Zach LaVine for Bradley Beal trade. All right, let's talk about a new report coming out from Marc Stein saying the Warriors have been at the front of the line for a Nikola Vucevic trade. And, I've talked about this multiple times on the Warriors front of this. I don't think Vuce is going to spark them back in the championship contention. But I do love the fit of Nikola Vucevic in Golden State. And Vuce has had a great season, really improved his three-point shooting this past year, shot around 32% last season. So it's great seeing him, just above 40%. But I do love the fit of Vooch in that kind of read and react Warriors offense, and especially it all starts with a high pick and roll with them. And if that's Vooch setting that high pick and roll, they blitz Steph Curry. He could play 4-on-3, and he has definitely improved his playmaking ability where I think he could thrive in that situation. But the holdup on this trade, Marc Stein's also reporting that the Bulls are seeking a first-round pick for Vucevic, but the Warriors have been unwilling to give up more than second-round draft capital. So, I'm reading this as Vooch will be traded to the Golden State Warriors at the NBA trade deadline for a second-round pick. I could see this being the trade right at the buzzer, right as that 2 p.m. Deadline is coming, and we're panicking. We're like, oh, man, Vooch hasn't been traded yet. What are the Bulls doing? Is it another year at the trade deadline where the Bulls just make no moves? I think it will be Vooch for a second-round pick heading to the Golden State Warriors. I don't think they'll be able to get a first for him. If you can, credit to the Bulls front office, but I just, again, think that's pretty unlikely. But out of the big, top two dogs on the Bulls roster that could be traded at the deadline, who will be traded? Give me an 8 for Zach LaVine or give me a 9 for Nikola Vucevic. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. And also, guys, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. It's going to be a busy next couple of weeks here with the trade deadline approaching. So if you guys want to stay up to date around everything around your Chicago Bulls, hit that subscribe button, lock us in. Do not miss a thing. Hit that sub button. We'll see you guys next time. As always, go Bulls.